I better make a bit of room for my wife. The evidence. I went down to Waterville for the weekend and I arrived at the lake and I was all excited. And first of all, my weight loss on the cabbage diet. I lost 14 pounds in 1 week. And if I wasn't drinking whiskey and if I wasn't drinking beer, I'd have lost more weight. But I lost 14 pounds in 1 week. Now that's the end of the cabbage diet. Kabish! I arrived at the lake on Friday morning. I was in great form and the sun was shining and the weather looked lovely and I was all excited. And I got into the boat and I set up my gear and I had 2 or 3 casts with the flag. I had 2 or 3 casts with the fly and the next second disaster strikes. My mobile phone, my beautiful mobile phone, a Samsung 5, it's only brand new, and it fell into the lake and sank to the bottom. And it's a waterproof phone. So I drove down to my pal's house, Big Mike, and he wasn't in. His son was there, and his son was very helpful. And his pals, they were very, very, very helpful. And they made a load of phone calls. And of course, everyone they were ringing, they knew divers, and they were ringing divers. I wanted to hire a diver to come up to the lake, and each fella was on holidays, and one fella they couldn't get through to it. In the end, they got through to a diver, and I spoke to him, and I asked him what would he charge me to come up to the lake, and I could pinpoint exactly where the phone went in, and I told him the water was about 17 feet deep in this spot, and he said he'd do it for €100. So I was just so browned off. I didn't even fish for the rest of the day. I was just pissed off. And I met your man the next morning outside the London shop. He arranged to meet me at 9 o'clock. And I was waiting for my friend to come at 9 o'clock. And before 9, every single car that came, every single person got out, I was looking. And I was thinking, does he look like a diver? Then this fella comes and he was smoking. And he was coughing, I was going, bloody hell, I wonder is he a diver? Everyone that came, I kept looking, and eventually this fella came with a really good tan on his face, and he looked really fit, and I just know this guy's the guy. And I got out of my car, and he looked at me, he said, Vincent, I says, yeah. So he followed me up, we went up to the lake, he had all the gear on. I says, how do you get into the water, and hopefully when you find the phone, I says, how will you get into the water? He said, don't worry about that, don't you worry about that. We went up to the lake, make a long story short, he got a rope, and a big heavy weight on it. He dropped it down to the bottom and he said, you're right, it's around 17 feet. And he brought it 2 feet back up off the surface. And he had all his gear on. Next second, he was like a bloody ballerina. He jumped into there and he was into the water and he was gone. And he told me what to do. He told me to keep rowing around in circles in the area where I knew that I'd dropped my phone. And I did that. I kept driving around in circles, rowing the boat nice and slowly. And your man was below and I could see all the bubbles coming up. And he was down there going, he was down there a good half an hour he was down there. And I was praying that he'd find my phone, because I loved that phone and there's loads of information on it. And after half an hour he came up and he said, Vincent, I'm really sorry. He was genuinely really disappointed. He said, I'm really sorry. He said, I couldn't find the phone. He says, you were doing a great job. He said, what happened was down there in that area, he said, it was a kind of a very soft silt, kind of a mud. And he said he put his hand in, and his hand went right in above his wrist. It was just so soft. And he said when your phone fluttered down, he said if it landed like that, we'd have had a chance to see it. But he said if it hit the mud like this, it would have been like a little flatfish, and it would have went slit in underneath the mud. And that was the end of my phone. And it's waterproof, and it's there. And every time I'm down in Waterville, every time I'm down there, when I'm drifting over the spot, I'll be thinking of my phone below. So it was really disappointing. So I just I'm up in Patrick Street there for the last hour and a half in getting a new phone. So I bought a new phone and I had to pay €400. I'm on a deal where I pay for an 18-month contract. I thought they might do something for me, but I had to buy a new phone. It cost me €400. So it was €400 for the phone, €100 for my friend for fishing, for diving under the water, and of course I had to pay for the boat and for petrol. And I love that place. I love that place. I'll be down there again. It's so disappointing. So another weekend and no fish caught. There's a lot more to fishing than just catching fish. Until next time. See ya. And of course, on my phone, I had 2 new videos to put up on YouTube, and I put an awful lot of effort into the videos. They were the 2 best videos. Of course they were. They were the 2 best videos I ever made. They were absolutely brilliant. And they'd be going viral, and everyone would be rolling their heads laughing. And they're down at the bottom of the bloody lake on my phone. So cheers. Ship Shida. You always hear the old fishermen talking about the one that got away, but unfortunately for me, the one that got away wasn't a beautiful silver salmon. It was a beautiful silver Samsung Galaxy 5.